4:30 on February the 10th. And we need to, has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes? Okay, so and I did as well. Good job, Megan. So do I have does anyone want to make a motion to approve it? Eva, you make a motion to approve it, and Jamie, a second?
Yes.
All right, all in favor? Aye. We are joined tonight by Susan Coleman. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good. The city council member, and Maylee Brewer is here. We're happy to have both of you here. Okay. I guess.
And Don called about an hour ago and said that he was stuck in a meeting in Salem and would not be here.
Okay. So the three of us make a quorum, and we still need one more person to join us.
So we had an interview a couple hours ago. I can't remember the name of that committee. Yeah, for the admin finance property committee had a meeting to interview a candidate. And now it just moves to the next city council meeting for final approval.
Oh, good.
So hopefully by our next meeting, they will be here.
Good. Good. That's great news. So we have a report of the librarian. So Megan, you're on board.
Okay. So the statistics are in here as well. I'll get to that. But the main thing I want to point out from the statistics I have it under new business, is our circulation was up 20% over our circulation for December. And December was up 20% over what we did in November, which sounds awesome, but November was a little bit slow. But it's going up every month, so that's good. Even our digital collections went up 6% for the month. So there's no barriers to getting those, so that's a really good indicator. We've been collecting a patron count of people coming in the front door just for the last 2 months. And from December to January, the January numbers were up 22% over what we had in December. But December is typically a slower month, but even seeing numbers go up for that is really good. Updates for the collection. We added 38 board games and puzzles in January. This is after adding about 10 right after Christmas. Most of these were purchased from the Friends of the Library. We've actually had a couple of patrons also donate some games as well. They've been checking out. Almost everything is checked out at least once. I have about 15 more games in my office, and that'll go out soon. Just Joy's on vacation this week, which is good. We've been working on integrating some of our small children's book collections. There were like 100 books or so total. We've been integrating them into the rest of the collection, so they're much easier to find. So you don't have to look in 4 different places for a Dr. Seuss book. You can just actually go to like one place and find it. And patrons have been liking that. Our homeschool collection that we had that was mostly aimed at parents, it was housed in the children's area. It was a little out of date and not getting as much use for I know how much homeschool is happening in town for the last couple of years, obviously. So we've gotten some new stuff for that, and it's been put over in the adult nonfiction section where parents would be most likely to look anyway. I've had really good feedback from parents looking for items for their homeschooling and like having all of it there because there were a few resources there. There's a few in the children's area. So they're just happy it's all together and it's easy to find. Building issues. Really, the only issue we've really been having is just having to pick up garbage outside about once a week. The seagulls were helping us earlier this week because somebody spread saltine crackers all down the alley. So we do have help. As we get closer to spring, I'll be looking for somebody to volunteer to like weed the flower beds and maybe add some more color there. hoping there'll be like some teenagers that need some volunteer work or something like that. Or anybody that just loves to garden. Inside the building, we've added some, actually since I wrote this, because we added it this month, we have now 3 new easy chairs and 2 new beanbag chairs. We have 1 more chair to replace, just deciding what type of chair for that one. Patrons are liking those. They're much more comfortable than the old wooden ones that were probably original to the building. Whenever there's teenagers in the building, I've found them in those beanbag chairs, so that's good. I'm calling it like my teenager trap, because it's like they just like they're bright green and they just kind of gravitate towards them. They're on the floor. They're kind of cool. I've also been trying to add some more color around the building with like some posters and stuff like that on the wall. In the teen room, we have like some space travel posters, like basically kind of visiting other planets, kind of that fantasy genre. It kind of looks kind of cool. Just added some old summer reading posters in the children's area for now. But it's just something to cover up the brick and make it look a little less sterile in there. We've changed the name of our Wi-Fi, so now it actually says library. When you're looking on the list of Wi-Fi things to connect to, it says library instead of the brand name of our modem that we had before. So that's been helpful. I've added some woodblock letters to different areas around the library, so you can be a little bit easier to find some collections without having to ask. Like, here's new books, here's the Pacific Northwest, here's audiobooks and that type of thing. And also the Wi-Fi is starting at 8 a.m. now instead of 9 a.m. So it gives an extra hour for people, even though the building's not open yet. It's just a little bit more Wi-Fi outside, which is good. And also because I usually get to the building before 9 a.m. and working with our communications person on updating what's showing on our TV that's in the building. It only connected to Wi-Fi after 9, so we'd have to wait to do anything with it.
Excuse me, Meg,
yeah.
on that, speaking about the Wi-Fi, I've noticed that every once in a while there's someone out in the lobby. Are they using the Wi-Fi? Is that what they're doing?
We have a power strip out there for them to plug in their devices.
Oh, okay.
So could it be either Wi-Fi or just charging their phones?
Okay. Okay.
We found some people are just more comfortable not coming all the way in when they just are looking to charge their phone.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Okay.
And then I've also seen some people that spend long enough shopping at the little Friends books we have for sale in the lobby that they plug their phone in while doing that, and it's right there and they can keep an eye on it.
Oh, okay.
So if you need to, shop for half an hour in the 100 books or so we have out there.
I noticed that too.
Yeah. Passive programming. For January, we did little paper fortune cookies that you could make. We gave out about 40 of those to celebrate the Lunar New Year. And then we had little activity packets with coloring pages and word finds for both MLK Junior Day and then for the Lunar New Year. It was kind of fun to watch some of especially like the homeschool moms come in as like, oh, this is the lesson we're doing this week anyway. Great to have an activity all ready to go for it. And then all month we offered a free book to every kid that came into the library. Those were from the Friends of the Library. Normally these books would be in our little free libraries at each of the elementary schools, but some of them are leaking right now. So we just decided to kind of have the books in the library. And we've had every time a kid came in, if they wanted another book, it was fine. So it was fun watching some of the kids kind of push their parents like, can we come back tomorrow? The new building, the RFP for that is still on hold with some other projects happening in the city. And then somebody in the corner, Brandon, will have an update about the check from the sale of the property in Colorado. It's more updated than what I had on the report. We did receive our check for the Ready to Read grant from the state library, and that's been deposited. That was just under $2,000. It will fund a lot of the summer reading programs, and then getting some more children's books. That is all I have for my report for now. In the unfinished new business, we'll talk about the fine-free library and continuing that in that portion. So are there any questions about this? 'Cause I did a lot of talking.
So it should be on. I just have a question about in-person visits were up 22%. So were you able to talk to the city manager about opening up more hours for the library to be open? I know last month you said it is what it is. And I guess I have the same question. Is there a threshold that we have to reach for visits in order to open up more hours? Because I know that was a question that you had as well about opening it up at an earlier time.
I had a meeting set, but currently the city manager is dealing with a personal issue and is out for a little bit. I do have a meeting set with our pro tem city manager for next week, and I'll discuss with them about the adding additional hours. But I do believe that the 2 months in a row of being up 20% more each month, I think that those numbers are definitely good enough. I am seeing that we have an average of over 2,000 items checked out. I think it's that much. 2,000 items checked out every day. I get stats every day. For a while, we were averaging a little under 1,000 around November, but now we're up to about 2,000 items checked out in total. So I think those numbers being up that high of people checking that much out that's some good stats to go into the meeting with.
Making sure I understand, you said 2,000 per day
No, that's just in total checked out.
for the month.
Yeah, just on average every day there's that many items checked
Okay.
out. So some people are bringing some back, some are checking out
Gotcha.
some new.
Okay.
So it averages about that many items are not on the shelf.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I had a
So,
question. Oh,
and just in that regard, is that what's the significance of that number for a library of our size to have 2,000 items out on any given day?
I think it's a good, just seeing the number go up so much more. I think it's really a good indicator that people are coming back to the library and they are checking out what we have and finding that we have what they want.
So I had actually one comment. You said something about teenagers volunteering. Have you connected with like the Key Club at the high school or any clubs like that, the leadership
I haven't
class?
yet. I did meet with the school superintendent last week, and then I'm going to be part of several of their meetings upcoming. They're having some issues as well with just everyone having time and then dealing with face masks and being around.
Right.
So it'll just take a little bit of time.
I just know that there are students that need to have volunteer hours.
Yeah, and I've had a
that are
couple
involved.
email me.
Yeah. And then regarding the homeschool thing, I think it's great that you're thinking through how best to provide resources for them. Have you connected with any of those groups to communicate with them more about the resources that are available? Because I think you're doing a great job obviously a great job.
Yeah, Joy has been doing that for me. She has a lot of contacts. So she's been doing great with that. And she's trying to get the moms together. They're starting a drama club.
Oh, fun. Great.
Amongst themselves. So they're trying to get that organized as well. So trying to maybe be the meeting place for that. So
that would be
yeah.
ideal. Wonderful.
She's been our great person for that.
Cool. Thank you.
Like if you ever need help, like I could ask some students at our school because people have free time.
Yes,
at
that
my
would be
school and
great.
stuff.
And it should be easy work. It's just getting some new plants and then a little bit of weeding. There's not too much with the bark dust, but just make it pretty and nice.
And there's not that many of them. I
No.
mean, it's not a huge area.
Yeah.
So,
but it would definitely make the building look a lot nicer from
Yes.
the outside too.
I try to pick up trash too when I come in. There's always some of that.
Yeah, it just blows from
It's-
wherever. It's
Yeah.
it's normal.
That's
Seagulls help or they
That's
spread it.
true.
One of the two.
That's true.
All I have for now.
Okay. So I think I may have lost our place on here. So is it Brandon on now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you, Brandon.
I've got lots of good news for you in that I don't really have a whole lot of changes from last month to this month. Your other revenues are still pretty high. You're sitting at 90% of what we anticipated 8,000 for the year, and with the libraries brought in $7,200. I anticipate at this point that they'll exceed the $8,000 budget through the remainder of the year. Although certainly the fine free will impact that sum, but since you're already at budget, that's good news. On the property tax side, we've already had discussions previously about the fact that we are anticipating additional property tax revenue at a city council meeting. When was that? January. I think the end of January. We gave them a second quarter report that said we were anticipating about $20,000 in additional revenue for the library and property taxes. So good news on that front, certainly. On the expense side, everything is still riding pretty low. Staff pay and benefits are sitting at 48%. We finished seven months of our fiscal year at the end of January. So in a perfect world, we'd be sitting at about 58% of expenditures to date. So definitely some room. And if the library expands their hours, I imagine there'll be some additional staff needs, and there's some room to accommodate that. So we'll be ready if that occurs. On the materials side, I keep telling Megan she needs to spend more money, but she's sitting at about 42% for the year. So we'll likely see some changes as we go through the remainder of the year. The one piece of really good news that I have for you is that the city did receive what I'll call an initial distribution from the sale of the Colorado property. We received a $500,000 check from the Crystal Alhite Revocable Living Trust. There were 3 beneficiaries of that trust, us, OHSU, and Shriners Children's Hospital. One of those organizations, who I won't call out by name, decided that they didn't want to sign the tax liability paperwork or the indemnification agreement. So in order to protect itself, the trust decided that it would hold a portion of its funds, file the necessary income taxes with the federal and state governments, that being Oregon and the state of Colorado, and then distribute whatever is left over after those taxes have been paid. So we do anticipate one additional check. I don't know exactly how much that's going to be given the tax implications, but we're anticipating at least 100,000 in the world, 300. So for a total of 800,000 or better. But we'll have to wait and see what that last one looks like. The first 500,000 that did come in has been deposited to a project and equipment reserve that the city has under the library organization. So you will actually start to see that 500,000 in your future reports because it came in February. That's why you're not seeing it yet. So you'll see that as a line item on your reports going forward, so you know that that is sitting in library reserves, earning interest for the library, and we'll be able to put it towards likely a new facility if that's what the council, the board and the council decide to move forward with. And if not, then for the library of some kind. So that's all I have for finance stuff, unless anybody has any specific questions.
Hey, anything else that anyone wants to discuss or talk about? Or
So I have the stats if you have any questions about those. And then just on the new business, I just included some documents about other libraries going fine free.
oh
We're going
right,
to have the final discussion if we want to keep that going or not.
That's right. We were supposed to do that this month. We were going to do it until this month. And so we do. Does anyone have any opinion or thoughts on it? Eva?
Well, the American Library Association put out a statement in 2019 favoring the elimination of fines. So it's now 2022. And I've seen this graph that Megan put at the end of our packet of which libraries in Oregon are fine-free now. And clearly the percentages are going up. I couldn't find on the Oregon Library Association website like a mandate to go to fine free, but the ALA is the professional organization for libraries. I'm not sure how the interface goes with the state library board, but obviously I don't see any reason not to discontinue fines. I do think we're going to have to do some sort of a marketing, have some sort of marketing idea about this, because I'm sure there are still people in the community who think that, well, what if somebody has an overdue book? Aren't we going to punish them? There's kind of they did something wrong, and we're just not of that mindset anymore. And so to bring people like that along is also part of kind of our bigger view of what libraries do nowadays. They don't do what they did in 1960. And so this to me is just one little nugget of how to promote the interest and the work of the library in a positive way for the community.
I'm also in favor of going fine free. I mean, especially, if Megan hasn't seen any major concerns with it in the last 3 months. And if I remember correctly, if a book is never returned, is there a point at which a patron has to pay for an item that's never returned?
Yes.
Right.
So they'll check out for their initial 3 weeks, and then there's two renewals that we will do. And then it will go into a lost status, and the patron will be charged the price of the book. One stat that Diane did give me right before I left is that in January, they only had to do 3 of those contacts with patrons. Last January, they had to do 38. So more people are bringing books back when there are no fines. And I think that's one of those things that kind of, we'll see more of that as well. There's always going to be a few patrons that will take advantage of it, but they were anyway. Yeah. So they're not really changing. But it's more of some of the other patrons who are like, it's okay if this is, a few weeks late, I can still return it. I'm not just going to might as well, keep it or something. And our biggest thing is we want to get the books back, or the DVDs, whatever it is. We'd rather have it back than your 15 cents.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Susan? Do you, as a council member, do you have any opinion about it? Or
I think as a counselor, I'm really interested in that kind of data that she just shared.
Yes, exactly.
That last January 38, and this year you only had to call on 3. I think that if that's the kind of impact, and that was kind of the goal of what going fine free, if it's accomplishing it, that's a benchmark that we can actually see and go, that's accomplishing the library's goals. But I think it coupled with the fact that you have more people coming in and more books being checked out in the last 2 months, which have been that time frame that you were testing this out.
Yeah.
So I think that data actually speaks volumes for a marketing purpose. So yeah.
I do too. We might share that with the, an article or something that the New Era, so that gets out into the community and they know that it's not just something that we willy-nilly thought of, but there's a reason for for it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one reason I included the article from the Register Guard for Springfield.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah.
Joy was so excited when that was in the paper. She's like, she brought it in to keep. And she's like, I'm going to give this to Dawn.
Good idea.
But
Okay.
yeah, it's something after if we want to go with approve it here and then move it towards the
The
council
council.
to approve. That's something I think after the council has approved it, that we can definitely work with Benny and the New Era and
Sure.
do something similar to what Springfield did.
Okay. Sounds good. That's great and very good information. Thank you, Megan. So with that, anything else? Any
I guess, do we have anything upcoming next month or any other issues that are looming or not looming?
Yeah.
The only thing upcoming on my plate is a few grants that I'm looking at. We are going to start 1,000 books before kindergarten program. It's one thing I talked with the school district about for helping promote and all that. Working on a grant to try to get all the stuff we need to get that off the ground. But if I don't get the grant, then it's our budget can absorb it to some degree at least. I have big plans. So we have that going, which I think will help get kids into the library and get people reading. And then having the library card age lowered to 5 will help with that as well. Because once they maybe they finish their 1,000 books, they're ready for kindergarten, they're ready to have their library card, they're good to go. And then other than that, I'm just going to work on whatever I can do to get us to be open some more hours. So I'm looking at possibly Wednesday morning opening at 10 and then Thursday morning as well.
Oh, nice.
And then depending on what happens with the mask mandate, I know the state has their date. Not sure what the city's going to do yet. But probably in April or so, possibly going back to having story times in person and doing some other programming that we could now do.
That's great news. Good. Brandon, I see that you might be wanting to say something.
Yeah, I would just kind of, if as far as the fine free piece is concerned, if this board wants to make a formal recommendation for the council,
okay.
so that way it's in minutes and Megan can take it to the council and say the library board recommended X. That was the only thing
Okay,
I
so
thought I'd throw out
do
there.
we need to do a motion then on that? And that, okay.
I would do a motion.
Does somebody like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the library going fine free.
Okay, and Eva will second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Good. That's good. All right, anything else? Any other thing we need to clean up?
No, it's just if you have anything you guys want me to work on, let me know.
We will, and thank you for following through about the opening a little bit earlier so I don't have to wait till noon to get into the library.
I was going to tell this story about this one patron that came in and said, do you know how long it is until noon?
Oh, I don't know who that is.
I don't know. I did bring one of our take and make craft kits if anyone would like to make some heart ornaments.
Oh, cute.
Just for fun.
Okay, all right. Anybody? Maylee, do you have anything you need to talk about today? How are things going at school? Okay, well, thank you. And thanks, Susan, for coming. And I guess we will call this meeting. Well, we finished at 5. Brandon's going, yay. Okay, we'll see everybody then next month. I don't